Unfortunately, fake conservatives agreed to fake spending cuts, and conservatives were sold out once again. The Biden-McCarthy debt deal will add over $4 trillion in new debt over the next 2 years. The Biden-McCarthy deal never balances the budget, and it cements the COVID spending binge that drove inflation. The Biden-McCarthy deal will push our national debt to nearly $35 trillion in just 2 years. The deal keeps 98% of the expansion and funding of the new IRS agents, and it doesn't cut a penny of Democrats' crony energy giveaways. I will absolutely not vote to expand our national debt by $4 trillion.
What's going on? I want to talk to Kenny here today, and got a doozy one for you. So, as you guys know, McCarthy and Biden has reached a deal on the debt ceiling. I think by the time this video comes in, Biden already signed it, I believe, right? I just wanted to give my thoughts on it because it seems like the best politicians that we tend to get are people who actually have experience in the private sector, right? Ron Paul is a great example. I think he was a doctor before he became a sitting politician in Kentucky, right? And how he operates is, I'm like, yo, why can't more Republicans can be like this? And the only way we can get more Republicans like Ron Paul is if, in my view, Americans are more informed about civics, more informed about politics, more informed about what is actually in reality possible, and knowing the long-term ramifications of their decisions, right? Because right now, the debt ceiling, I think, has no debt ceiling until January 2025. And they claim, oh, he's going to save us $1.5 trillion. And Ron Paul's like, no, but you will be able to spend a lot more than you actually saving. And like he said in the intro, we pretty much solidified spending that was done during the COVID years, which we knew was, hey, that was an exception. We shouldn't be doing spending like that anymore. So now the average bill is going to be $1 trillion. What? And it's so baffling to me that people have so much trust in the government. In my view, the government is the worst entity at managing resources. We see it all the time. Look at anywhere where government spending is done and see how inefficient those funds are used to actually solve problems. Education is a big example for me, right? The more government spending it seems to go into the Department of Education, the lower quality of educational outcomes that are produced out of public school. No one can sit here and justify. If I told a single mom, hey, we're going to raise your cable bill, but also we're taking down the quality of the videos and the shows that are being streamed on your cable, you'll cancel immediately. That's what happened with private citizens do. But there are wrong incentives instilled in the government. But hey, don't take my word for it. I like Ron Paul's alternative, and I think that the conservatives are aware that, hey, Republicans, rhinos, right? Conservative voters understand that a lot of politicians that are in office are probably playing the game so they can be in power. My thing is, we have to wield, just like we wield our dollars to boycott Bud Light, Target, we need to do the same with our vote in a way. Like, we need to be more actively involved in what's going on in our politics. But hey, enough rambling about me. Let's check out this alternative plan that Ron Paul is advocating for, and let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, and I'll give you my take after the clip. Let's take a look.
On total government spending, the spending caps are part of my 5-penny budget plan that balances the budget in just 5 years. My 5-penny plan creates a mandate that the federal government can't spend more than it brings in. Spending increases are forbidden from exceeding revenue forever. Our government's approach to budgeting is entirely irresponsible. No American is allowed to continue running up copious amounts of debt without consequences. At some point, the bills must be paid and spending must stop.
Imagine that. You're talking about we need to balance the budget. Okay, there needs to be a hard line like Ron Paul set up. He said, hey, 5-year plan. Hey, we can't spend more money than tax revenue that's coming in. Smart plan. I agree with that, because that's how normal individuals in the country run their books. Hey, and you know, if you spend more money than you're making, you know is a bad outcome. But yet we sit here and allow government to do it all the time because the incentives are all backwards in the government. In the government, I think I explained this before, but in the government, they intentionally overspend. So then next year they'd be like, hey, we need an increase in our budget because we're spend this much last year. We maximize our budget. I think we need more to help more people, right? But then what's the result? The results are nothing. The money are not deployed properly to actually get good outcomes. This is why I'm in big favor. If the government needs to invest money in a certain industry, the money should be in the hands of the citizens. For instance, school choice. You let the Department of Education say, "Oh, look, we spend $1.5 billion in education, and we maximize the budget, and look at our education quality. It's still going down. Our kids can't read at third grade level. We need more resources." Then they go fight for a budget increase. They get the budget increase, spend up to the max again. So that way they can justify getting more money in the next year. And let's say, if the Department of Education underspends, then other departments will say, "Hey, look, the department only had a $1.5 billion budget, but they only spent $200 million. They don't need $1.5 billion. The incentives are all backwards in the government. Imagine me as a private citizen, when I max out my credit card, my credit card company increases my credit limit. What the credit card company's telling me? "Oh, we want you to spend more money." And generally, that's not a good thing for you. That interest is going to hit you hard. And it's baffling to me that there needs to be a law to tell these politicians that, hey, you can't spend more than you make. But they do it all the time. And what results do they have to justify it? None. But we keep letting them get away with this. So yeah, I'm getting into this article. Biden signs bill to increase debt limit, avoiding federal default. And that it seemed like that's the only plan. That was the only strategy. Hey, let's not go into federal default. Instead of actually fixing something and creating long-term solutions, right? And this is what happens. This is one of the reasons why I'm kind of in agreement with people who want younger politicians, because these boomers here, sorry if you're a boomer, I don't mean to offend you, but I'm talking about y'all politicians. They're way past the age of retirement. They're like, the average age, I think, is 88 years old, 80 years old in the government. Too old. Y'all guys y'all have the bad incentives. There's no investment in the future, because you're not going to live long enough to suffer the bad consequences of your policy. And this is my problem with government. This is why I'm in favor of age limit in public service. Hey, whatever's the age of retirement in the private sector, that should mirror it in the public sector, in the public service sector in the government. That's my solution to this, because this is asinine to me. President Joe Biden signs a bill into law on Saturday to avoid a default on the federal government debt by raising the debt limit. The bill, known as the Fiscal Responsibility Act, words, not deeds, will suspend the debt limit until January 2025, which is, we heard from Ron Paul, and implements restraints on spending that Congressional Budget Office estimate will reduce the budget by $1.5 trillion over the next decade. Okay, get a different guy in there, we'll see. I just signed into a law, a bipartisan budget. All this it's just a show, bro. Like, I don't understand how people fall for this. And this is to get the low information voters to see, oh, look, Biden's doing something. But then when you look into it, you're like, yo, this doesn't objectively do anything, right? But I digress. Let me read into this. I just signed into a law, a bipartisan budget agreement that prevents a first ever default while reducing the deficit, safeguarding Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, and fulfilling our sacred obligation to our veterans. I have a look, like, people don't like my take about Social Security, but we can't keep going like this. Either we need to reduce Social Security, either reform Social Security, or, and I think a lot of people ain't going like this, we don't have the means to actually hold people in retirement for Social Security. So one of the solutions, which might happen to us within the decade, is they're going to raise the age of retirement. I know, I made people mad right now, but that's the reality. When you keep pucking off problems to the next year, you got to take more drastic action to fix it. And this is what I'm trying to say. If people are more informed about, like, what's, like, cause and effect, what's the trade-offs to these policies, people can make a more informed decision. But these politicians don't care. These politicians only care about, hey, I want to stay in power. And that's both sides. But from my estimate, the conservatives are more aware that this is a problem in their side, then the Democrats are aware that's a problem on theirs. That's all I'm gonna say. Because it seems like Democrats, y'all like this. Y'all blindly trust y'all politicians. Oh, my politician doing what's best for us. I don't know if it's y'all playing tribal politics or y'all legitimately believe this stuff. I don't know. I mean, I come from the black community, the most loyal constituents in the Democratic Party. And I look at the field, I'm like, yo, y'all still complaining about the same problems y'all complained 50 years ago. But y'all still want me to vote Democrat because of my skin color. Crazy. Biden says on Twitter, now we will continue to work and build work of building the strongest economy in the world. And my question for you guys in the comment section is, what do you think Biden means by building the strongest economy in the world? Because from my estimates, highest inflation in 40 years. By the time January 25 comes around, I think we'll be in a recession if we're not already in a recession, right? High interest rates, high gas prices. What economy? Like what version of a strong economy is this guy talking about? I want to hear your thoughts in the comment section. But let's get back into the article. I just signed into a law. Yeah, we already know this, right? The bill was hashed out through a deal between House Speaker Kevin McCarthy. I think he should be, how you say it? I think he should be, he should lose his speakership, but I don't think that's going to happen. I think the Freedom Caucus, they don't have enough votes to actually get him out. But I think they should, like, really put it into motion just to see, okay, who was with it or who was not. That's all I want to know, just for the American people. Because then this is my thing. These things will work if America was more involved and more active in politics, right? If like let's say most of America was like me, and then we see this, and then the House speakership, the Freedom Caucus say, hey, we're gonna remove Speaker McCarthy as Speaker of the House, and then we saw the votes, right? And we saw he still stayed in office. That would be a signal to us. We'll be like this. Oh, okay, I'm gonna take him out. Oh, he's in my district. Oh yeah, I'm taking him out. And then next year they'll know they'll suffer our consequences. So next time this stuff happens, people will be like, oh, America's paying attention. We can't. This is why they're so against the establishment, the old guard. This is why I'm new blood. That's why I say I'm new blood, because I'm done with the old style conservatism. Oh, we're leftists going the speed limit. No, I'm striving for something. Hey, there's an ideal society that I'm fighting for, and that's what I'm pushing for. And this is not it. This is not it. Biden, it passed both the House and the Senate with more Democratic votes in favor than Republicans, which is obvious conclusion, with some conservative lawmakers saying that it doesn't cut down on spending enough. In the House, 149 Republicans joined 165 Democrats in voting for the bill, while in the Senate, 17 Republicans joined 46 Democrats in supporting the measure. The bill was supported by the leaderships in both parties, including Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer and McCarthy in the House. Right, bipartisan support. Right, establishment wins. Hey, they know how to make compromises when it benefits each other. Like, hey, let's try to keep all our jobs here, because if a debt default had happened, a lot of people would have been losing their jobs. And this is the unifying loyalty between the Democratic and Republican Party. But like I said, it's the old guard. What us conservatives going to do about it? Do we want something, or are we going to sit here, be comfortable, and accept the same damn thing every damn year, or are we actually going to demand something out of these people? Kevin McCarthy was doing so well up until this point, because in the beginning he had to fight for his speakership. It wasn't just, roll out the red carpet for Kevin McCarthy, he's going to be Speaker of the Republic. No, he had to fight for it, and you see how much better he performed compared to he done in the past. And I think if a lot of politicians felt that pressure from their constituents, from their voters, I think we'll be getting a lot more different outcomes. But that's just me thinking idealistically. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. What you guys believe? Do you believe the debt ceiling is as advertised? Do you believe it was a wrong deal? Do you like Rand Paul's recommendation and his alternative to the debt ceiling that just got passed by Joe Biden? I want to hear all of it. Thanks for watching to the end of the video, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.